Hey, badass business owner, let's talk about money. Money you put in your pocket. Or for some of you, money you wish you put in your pocket. All right. So this week I had several different coaching calls, and there actually was a theme that I could thread between all of them. And it made me realize that I probably should take a few minutes and talk about that. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And that is knowing your value as a business owner. Because you see, there are kind of, I would say, 3 tiers to how you pay yourself as a business owner. And unfortunately, there are quite a few of you stuck in tier 1 and a bunch of people stuck in tier 2. And the reality is we need to get you to tier 3. Now you're probably wondering, Tammy, what the hell are you talking about? And what are these tiers? And where am I? And how do I get to the next one? Because I want to make a lot of money. Well, the first tier is unfortunately one where you don't get paid at all. You're running a business and you're taking no money whatsoever. And I've been there, done that. I even got that t-shirt when I ran my ice cream store. Trust me, I was doing everything I could. I was sacrificing my time to help offset the payroll that was needed to keep the business. Because anybody that knows the history is the market crashed in 2008 right after I bought the store. And it devastated our town, devastated the number of customers that were available, all kinds of stuff, but still had bills to pay, still had a business to run. And I can tell you, there's a lot of you that I have spoken to over the years that are in the exact same boat, or you used to be in the same boat, where you are working your butt off, working these 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week, and you're not taking any money. And you have realized that, you might take something here or there, but really for the most part, you're not getting paid. Like if you were doing all this work for somebody else and not getting as much money as you're getting now, you wouldn't be working there, kind of a thing. It's like you just don't make any money. Now, the tier 2 are folks that have figured out how to at least pay themselves as an employee in the business. So for example, if the typical employee of that business would make $15-20 an hour, whether they had employees or not, but if they were to hire someone would make $15-20 an hour, they're able to at least pay themselves $1,000 a week, $500 a week, $3,000-4,000 a month, whatever the case may be. But there's still no company profits. So they've managed to get the business to the point where they're taking some money out, but there's just no profits. And you can guess tier number 3 is where you have company profits at the same time, if not more. So you could throw in a 4th tier where you're not working at all as an employee and it's 100% business profits that you're living off of. But for tier 3, we're just going to make it that at least you're getting paid for anything you do within the business, and you also are taking profits out of the business. Because here's the thing, and I think I was talking about this a little bit last week as well. At the end of the day, you are running a business, and as a business, you get paid on the success of the business. All right. If you go look at the way it's supposed to be structured, really, honestly, you are to be paid as a business owner. You get paid out of those business profits. The problem is so many small businesses never get to the point of having business profits. And if they do, they're very small. And that's not what you're here for today. Now, most of the people that I try to focus on is to get you guys from tier 1, where you're not getting paid at all the way up to tier 3. You know what? There's other podcasts and other things that'll help tell you how to expand world domination and all that other good stuff. But my main goal is, how do I at least start getting you paid? Whether it's a combination of employee and business owner or all business owner. But there's so many of you out there that really are making no money, and you're feeling that frustration because you're really struggling to pay the bills that you have. And if it wasn't for a spouse or significant other who had a very good income, you probably wouldn't be able to run your business at all. Does this sound familiar to some of you? Because I think there's a lot of you out there that unfortunately are stuck in that tweenerville between being paid nothing and getting a little bit of money as an employee. And our goal is, how do we get you to change your focus? Well, one of the biggest things is you've got to draw a line in the sand. And I know this sounds weird and it sounds like it's not going to work for you, but I was having an excellent dialogue with someone earlier this week who's actually done this. She spent years in her business not making any money, and then she drew a line in the sand, and guess what? She started paying herself $500 and she started putting money away in the business. by doing so, it allowed her to focus on what she needed to do. She paid herself first, and then she knew what money she had to go out for the rest of the parts of the business. It's kind of that profits first method, but whether you do that method or at least you start paying yourself, that's the biggest thing you need to do. You need to draw a line in the sand and say, look, I'm going to start taking money out. And you're going to say, hey, I'm going to get, you know what, if it's $300, if you're getting nothing today, you can start small, $200, $300, $400, $500. It doesn't really matter, but you need to start, because what it's going to do is it's going to start you to start thinking differently about your business. You're going to force yourself to work on your business. Because what it's going to do is it's actually going to free up more time. It's going to sound weird, but it will happen. When you start paying yourself and you start putting different things in place to be able to do that, what you're going to find is you're going to start making even more money because you're going to have even more time to work on the business. Because here's the thing, if you can't figure out how to start paying yourself $500 a month in your first 30 days, and maybe give yourself 90 days, you're never going to make this business work, and you're going to have to make a tough decision. Because if you force yourself to do that, you're going to realize, okay, I'm wasting money here. I'm spending money here. You're going to take a closer look at your processes and figure out where you're bleeding money. You're going to look at all the things you pay for in your expenses. You're going to start cutting them, and you're going to start finding money all of a sudden to pay yourself because you're paying attention to what's going on in your business. Most of you could be paid if you really dove in deeper to find out what you need to cut in order for you to get paid. By forcing yourself to be paid first, it actually will cause you to do that, because it's the only other way that you're going to be able to pay anybody else that you need to pay. And if you're a solopreneur, more than likely, most people who work on their own, they get some sort of pay. They're kind of like a tweener between free and paying themselves as a business owner. A lot of people who have brick and mortar businesses or businesses with people tend to not pay themselves. It's a weird quirk because they always want to put their people first. And I totally get that. I was guilty as charged as well. I wanted to make sure that my people got paid. So I totally understand why you want to do that. But at the end of the day, you're not doing them a service. You know, I was listening to something the other day and they were talking about the fact that, you know, they kept their business open because they wanted to make sure that their people got paid. And they probably stayed in the business for a couple of years too long because they were taking care of, they wanted to make sure their people didn't not have a job. And it so resonated with me because I did the exact same thing. But then they said something that was totally true. By you delaying that business for a year or two, you're also denying those employees raises, increases, more opportunity because they're being held down with you and with your business. So ultimately, they have to start over at some point anyways, because you can't keep the business open if you're not getting paid at the end of the day. So are you really doing them a service by making sure you don't get paid? Not really, because you're not making the business better. And unless you start making the business better, you're going to hurt them. It may not be today, but it will be a year from now or 2 years from now. Now, I'm not advocating for you to close your business. That is not what I'm saying. What I am saying is you need to step back. You need to get paid. You need to go through these tiers. You need to stop working for free. You need to at minimum be paid for the work that you do in the business, but you honest to God need to grow the business to where you are taking money as a business owner. Ultimately, that is what the goal is. And that's the meaning of having a business. You did not get into this to create a job for yourself. You got into this because you wanted to build something badass and a business that could free up your time and allow you to have the lifestyle that you actually wanted. And it wasn't to be able to work 65, 75, 85 hours a week, barely hanging on. And like I said, we tend to not be motivated as much as we should when we have somebody else helping to pay the bills. And it's a blessing and a curse to have a significant other, a spouse or whoever, who can help with the bills and make things work because it gives us time to get our business off the ground. But the reality is, if it's a year, 2, 3, 4 years down the road and you're still not making any money, you've just created a hobby that breaks even in most cases. And the reality is that's not what a business owner is. And we want to get you out of that. All right. You know, the person I was talking about that I had the coaching call with earlier this week said something that was very profound, and someone said it to her. Your customers probably love you. They probably love what it is that you do. They love what you offer. Some of you have probably had these same customers for years. But here's what she said, what that was said to her, is what would your customers think if they knew you weren't paying yourself. That's pretty badass when you think about it, because in most cases, our customers would feel horrible, would feel rotten. When I closed my ice cream shop, what was interesting was how many people I ran into that said, "Hey, I really miss the ice cream store. When are you going to do the ice cream store? We really need to have the ice cream." It's all I ever heard. And I would just look at them and I said, at the end of the day, if I don't get paid, it doesn't make sense for us to have the business. If people don't come in, and all of a sudden people had these aha moments going, "You mean we had to come in and buy stuff on a regular basis in order for you to keep the business open?" It was like this, yeah, that's how businesses work, and people were so amazed at the fact that I wasn't being paid for so much of that during that time frame, because I was the main person they saw all the time. I lived there trying to make sure that I could try to get the thing to work. And that's when, it doesn't matter how well, and by the way, it doesn't matter how well you run the business. I mean, my store was run perfect. I mean, I even had folks from the corporate come down and look at it, and they couldn't find the flaws of what I was doing. It just came down to simple math. Without customers, I could not get the profit that I needed in the business, which is why ultimately I had to let it go. Now, in today's world, the thing would be thriving like crazy. It still probably wouldn't make the type of money that I would want to make, but it would at least be thriving and be a very profitable store, because the situation changed. The world changed. The community changed. You know what? We gained back all those people that moved out of town, and plus some and whatnot. Sometimes a business just has the wrong timing of it, if you will. Now, this is kind of becoming a hodgepodge of an episode, but my main thing is I just want to make sure that we step back and we take a hard look at where you are in the business today. And I want to make sure that if you are not making any money and you are not putting any money in your pocket, I hear you. I feel you. I know what that feels like. I've been there, got that t-shirt, and it does not feel good. But I will tell you that it feels so much better once you are making money and you are doing well. But something has to give. Something has to change. And a lot of times what starts that change is what we tell ourselves between our ears. We say we can't do something. You can do it. I go back and I think, if I would have cut out certain things, could I have at least taken out some money? And the reality is, yeah, I probably could have. Listen, all I want to do is I want to help you guys make money. I want you to have a thriving, successful business, but I also want to make sure that you are getting paid, and that you are getting paid for not only the work you do in your business, but also as a business owner. I want to help each and every one of you get to level 3, to tier 3, whatever we want to call it. I want to help you get there. All right. I want you to stop living job to job. I want you to stop not making any money and busting your butt and being so dead ass tired at the end of the week, and yet you have nothing to show for it. So I've been rambling on, and I apologize for that. But listen, I want you to get paid. Okay. There's 3 tiers: not being paid at all, working for free, being paid as an employee within the business, and finally being paid as a business owner. Let's work on every single one of you guys getting to that level 3. And by the way, if you just need to vent and talk and just have a dialogue on this, don't forget you can reach out to me, Tammy at localsmallbusinesscoach.com, Tammy at localsmallbusinesscoach.com. I will be glad to have that dialogue with you. All right. And to be able to help you on this journey, to have that kickstart. And sometimes that's all it takes, is just to have a moment where you have a conversation and you're able to make that difference in your business, because I want you guys all to get paid. And since I know I'm rambling, and I've always said when I hear myself rambling, I'm going to cut this thing off. So now's the time for me to cut this thing off. Folks, I really need you to dive into your business numbers. It all starts in there. The money is in those business numbers. It's important that you understand them, and it's important that you start learning how to start chopping where you need to chop, running businesses smarter, not harder, and being able to find, how do you start paying yourself? You do not have a business if you're not paying yourself. I promise you, it's just a glorified hobby, and you're leaning on other people to help support you and to make things happen. And while that's great to help get the business going, but if you're still doing that a year or 2 years later, then we need to have a serious conversation, because there's so much more you can be doing with your life versus trying to spin your wheels, getting something going that just isn't working the way it's supposed to work. And it doesn't necessarily mean to have more jobs. Okay. It doesn't mean to do more business. If you haven't figured out how to pay yourself at one level, more than likely you never figured out how to pay yourself at a higher level. You probably you're doing more business, but you're still not making any more money. And I've had people making $300, $400, $500, $500,000 and still not paying themselves. Okay. And it happens, but something's got to change in the business in order for you to make some money. And that's what we're doing here. Okay. Once again, I'm still rattling, but that's how passionate I am about this. You know what? I've been there. I know what that feels like. And you know what? Now I'm on the other side and I'm making really great money. And I want you all to experience that. And you can do it in your business. It just has to look differently. And it may not look the way that it looks today. You probably have to make some changes to it in order to make this happen. You got to start. You got to make that mental change that you are going to not accept not getting paid what you should get paid in your business and go from there. I promise you're going to find you have way more time on your hands. You're going to work a hell of a lot smarter, and you're going to start finding out that you're not only paying yourself as an employee, you find out that you can start putting profits into the business, which ultimately will go into your pockets as well. All right, with that, I really am going this time. I'm just fired up. I'm out of here. I'll talk to you guys on the next episode. Bye for now. Hey, badass business owner, before you go, as you know, I'm a huge believer in you knowing your business numbers. After all, it isn't about how much you sell. It's about what you keep. And the best way to grow your profits is to start diving in and understanding those business numbers. To help you on this journey, I have created the Know Your Business Numbers course. We will walk through how to read your profit and loss statement. You'll learn the key calculations that'll help ensure that you're making a healthy profit on all of your products or services, plus a ton of other good stuff that'll help you learn how to use those business numbers to create even more sales and profits. Just check out the link below in the show notes or visit knowyourbusinessnumberscourse.com. So if you're ready to increase those profits, it's time you start diving into your business numbers.